Hafita Sang. Is that how you say it? Anyway, welcome back to another episode of Explicit Materia, the podcast where a nerdy drummer, that's me, talks to his friends. Follow me on Twitter at the WiseDrums, Instagram at WiseDrums, Facebook WiseDrums or Explicit Materia, and of course subscribe to youtube.com/WiseDrums where I post clips of this podcast and other stuff like drum covers, game reviews, reaction videos, all sorts of weird stuff. So check all that out and give me a shout in the YouTube comment section. Say hi or say, you suck. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Actually, don't do that. Be nice. I like nice people. Friendly disclaimer, this podcast uses slight potty language, so if you're easily offended by cursing, please take it upon yourself to search George Carlin's bit on curse words and prepare yourself to be enlightened. Okay, today's guest is my buddy Dane Kinser. He's a fantastic guitar player who's played for people like Ray Lynn, Luke Combs, Trent Harmon, Eric Pasley, Lindsay L., which is actually how we met. We both played for her, which was just a freaking blast. It was so much fun. Anyway, this episode, we pretty much nerd out about video games. He's a big Nintendo Switch fan, and we talk about his favorite games, what we think about the upcoming Switch Lite, role-playing games, Resident Evil, the OG one, and all sorts of stuff. Anyway, you can follow Dane on Instagram at StageRightGuitar. I swear, I don't know how he landed that awesome handle. How he did it, I don't know. It's one of Earth's great mysteries. Anyway, let's give it up for Dane Kinser, everybody. Guitar player extraordinaire Dane Kinser is here, with whom
You can be extraordinary in many ways, Shane.
Which I've had the pleasure of playing with recently, and we, it's funny, we didn't bond with music, really. We bonded more on video games.
Oh,
as
yeah.
it's evidenced by...
Straight to the nerdery.
Straight to the nerdery. And it's so funny. We didn't plan this, but we're wearing Legend of Zelda shirts, both of us.
I'm showing my age here versus Shane over there. Well, no. Never mind. We're in the same era.
We're in the same era, man.
thought I had one on you, but no.
Oh man! So what's up, dude?
Man,
what's going on with your life?
Happy to be home. It's summer travel season for us in the country music world, so that means 3 gigs a week and getting the best barbecue in the county every freaking time.
Yeah, that's the best about those festivals, man.
Just the best.
Just the best stall food, corn dogs,
just
chocolate covered
drinks
fried,
so you don't starve. Yeah,
bananas. Fried Oreos.
Cheese curds. We're in Wisconsin 4 consecutive weekends.
Oh, yes. My mom's from Wisconsin, so I'm very well aware.
Which part? Because we've been there.
Well, Beloit, Wisconsin.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. It's a small town. I think it's right next to Madison.
I'm sure they're into cheese there as well.
Yeah, well, she's a big Packers fan.
Yeah. Well,
she's a big
that's
Packers
a thing
fan.
Up there.
Which she actually betrayed the Packers for a second because Brett Favre
How
left.
did they take it?
Well, she was mad. Because she was mad on how they treated Brett Favre, apparently. I don't know the whole story. I wasn't really that big.
Okay.
Whatever.
Okay.
And so he left, and she actually became a Minnesota Vikings fan for just a brief stint until Brett left. That's how much she loved Brett Favre.
Was the game that you played at happened to be during that stint? Was that part of it?
No. That
would have been really convenient.
It would have
suddenly became a fan.
It would have been, but no, she's back to being a Packers fan. She's apparently
That was
forgiven.
our first show together, though, right?
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
Started at the top, now we're here.
Yeah, so that it was blasphemy, apparently, to turn your back on the Packers. But she did because she loved Brett Favre.
That seems like I don't know football. I'll be honest. Anything I'm about to say right now,
I go in and out.
I
go in and out because my favorite team, my team that I always would root for would be the New York Giants, which is funny because I'm not from New York. I've been to New York maybe 4 times in my life. I as a kid, my parents are huge football fans, and as a kid, my parents asked me, which team is your favorite team? And it happened to be the Giants, and it happened to be the Super Bowl. I think it was 86. I can't remember when they were at the Super Bowl. It was during this time. They were at the Super Bowl.
You were just choosing based on colors.
Yeah,
and
I was
blobs
like
and
red,
shapes
white, and
at that
blue.
point. Yeah.
I like that
Yeah.
team. And from then on, I was a Giants fan. And so, I'll watch football every now and then if my team is doing really well. And if they're not, I'm like, no, I'm done. I don't want to put myself
enjoy going
through
to games, but it's not what I flick on the TV. And like you, I think my first love in sports probably came because of a video game that I was. I think I liked the Mariners because it was Ken Griffey baseball back in the day.
Ken
you know
Griffey
what I mean?
baseball. Yes. Man, I remember that. Dude, baseball games were fun back in the day.
They're incredible. They're so good.
I haven't played any a baseball game since the
I think
Nintendo
I still
days.
quote some of the taunts from that. Come on, those 16-bit voices that just
You couldn't even understand them.
Dreadful, yeah.
One game that was like that would do that had the voice. I think, at least I remember this as a kid. Did you ever have that game Adventures of Bayou Billy? Is old Nintendo
Sure
game.
did.
Dude, that game was so hard too. That game
It was awful.
It was terrible. But I remember
Billy,
in my
holy
head,
cow.
I remember there's this voice that goes, The Adventures of Bayou Billy, but in Nintendo 8-bit form. So it'd be like,
Oh yeah. And the whole thing was sort of like a Crocodile Dundee knockoff. It was one of those
Right.
that looked like they just couldn't get the licensing or something,
no,
you know?
Yeah. So I always wonder, is this a movie? Because like the video game actually looked really cool with the artwork. With the, he held this like girl that was slumped over, and he had this
Right.
knife in his left hand.
Covers in the 8-bit era were exceptionally dramatic for what was often inside the box. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of some examples, but I remember that being the case.
Well, there was this one cover I remember with Fabio on the cover, and it was
Fabio was on a video game?
Yeah, I'm gonna find it.
Yeah, I need to know. I need this and inject this in my veins.
Fabio video game cover. Yes, I forget which video game it was, and he's holding a sword. It was Iron Sword. Yes, Wizards and Warriors 2.
What?
Iron Sword. Yes. Let's see right there.
That is him. See, I always thought that was Conan, like back in the day.
So when you're a 4-year-old child, 6 years old, you look at that picture and you're like, oh man, I'm gonna be a long-haired, big Hercules looking like dude, and then in the game you're a little knight with a little knife, and you're just like kind of stabbing.
Yeah. I'm just laughing that the two people that think this cover is cool is like young kids playing video games and the middle-aged romance novel crowd, you know?
I know. Gauntlet was the same way. Gauntlet had that, medieval kind of like, there's a particular, those old 80s medieval movies. But the cover was way over the top.
Oh, yeah. Marketing 101.
Yeah.
Man.
You are actually a big advocate of the Nintendo Switch. Mm-hmm. And we talked about it many, many times.
Yeah.
What are your favorite games? What games are you into right now for the Switch? Because I don't have a Switch.
It's tough to ask my favorite games because I've only played like 5. Because when I get into a game, like I squeeze every last bit of the juicy pulp out of it before I move on. I mean, I don't even remember how many hours it said I put into Skyrim, but it was a lot. I mean, a lot more than any sane person needed to put into that
Skyrim
game. It's
is
a great game.
Yeah. It's one of those games that no matter, I have, how many versions of it? I have a 360 version and the PS4 version.
And I assume, I mean, I know the Switch doesn't have the horsepower that some of the other systems have. Right. I mean, it's probably close to PS3. I don't know the specs. Somebody's going to call me out on that. But there's a delightful glitchiness to the games from that specific era and that specific engine, like that and Fallout 3 and whatnot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? How, especially once your character is just carrying like an ungodly amount of items or something, just weird stuff starts to happen. Things get frozen and stuck in time, and
it makes me kind of every time I look at Skyrim on the internet or just think of Skyrim and watch Skyrim videos on YouTube, I always go, man, I wish I had a freaking PC so I can mod the hell out of it. Because that looks like so much fun. Yeah. But I'm just a console player. I just
want to play as Shrek. That's the one mod that I see make it into most games. And,
the Shrek mod.
There was a guy recently. I like watching speed runs. Sorry, I'm already rabbit holing us out of the Switch conversation.
It's fine.
I like watching speed runs, especially if it's late at night on the bus and I just YouTubing my way to bed. I will sit and watch old video game speed runs, and especially like speed runs where they explain
what
how
they're doing.
The guy is doing. This guy's pixel clipping here. He's
they take advantage of like certain glitches that you didn't even notice, that you didn't even exist when you were a kid.
It's incredible. But there was a guy, I think this was in the last month, doing a speed run of one of the old Tony Hawk Pro Skater games.
Oh, dude.
And it was one of the later ones in which Shrek is an unlockable character or a moddable character or something like that. And he was doing it for a charity, and he did the entire like world record speed run as the Shrek character. And it's just a blast to watch.
Dude,
A, because it's a great run, and B, somebody once told me.
Dude, Tony Hawk, those games were, man,
They're
those games
incredible.
they were so good. They were so fun.
Oh, I still have Pro Skater 2. I've got a few
That was the best
64
one.
games.
That was the
I think
best
so
one.
too.
Yeah.
I think so too. They sort of refined the craft. It was before the Underground series that sort of got a little bit too Monster Energy for everybody. But I've been bringing the 64 out on the bus, which is really fun because we've got a couple people in the camp now that are much younger than us. And I bring out GoldenEye.
Oh, dude.
And they think they know what's about to happen.
They have no idea.
And they don't.
They have no idea.
Not just because, I'm a purist. I play one-hit kills, auto-aim off, map off, as pistols only, realistic as possible. Yep. And so I wallop them in that a few times, and then we start changing the weapons around, and we move to explosive stuff. And the poor guy, like... I could see where he was on the map. I'm screen cheating like any good player does. And like there's a wall.
The guy I hated to play
There's
against.
a wall between us. And I, having grown up in those times, like know if I shoot that wall that the explosion will clip through and still kill him. He is unaware of this. And he gets very angry when that very thing happens.
I totally forgot about it. God, I hated that. Oh, yeah.
But it's the perfect example. What's the Bane quote from Batman? It's like, you were trained in the darkness, but I was born in it. That's how I feel playing old games with these young kids. Like, you have no idea what we went through.
Could you not? I can't remember, because it's been so long since I played GoldenEye, but could you not? You couldn't aim up, could you? You could. There's something about old first-person shooter games that you can't do.
If you go to crosshair, you can sort of go up and down. But as you're walking, basically, no. You can't do it while moving.
Right.
if that makes sense.
Yeah. So those little mechanical differences.
And another thing that the youngsters don't know that is, do you remember that if you strafe, you actually move faster than just walking?
Right.
And so if you just strafe through the whole level, you outrun anybody. And so they just assumed I had like a faster character than them. Just like skirting off.
No fair. Dude, no fair. Did you do, so when we played GoldenEye, we had one rule. The one rule was no one plays Odd Job.
Of course. Yeah.
That's no one played.
Oh.
I don't even understand why they had him as a character because he's so OP.
And the goal socially is to shame whoever would even attempt to pick him. To where they don't even want to try because they know they're just going to get beat down verbally through the whole match. It doesn't matter if they win, that they've lost all respect and dignity at that point. But no, I love bringing the old games out for stuff like that. And GoldenEye, they finally convinced me to do a slappers round, and that was the only round I got beat in.
Slappers round? Remind me what that was.
No weapons. You just slaps.
Okay, yeah. All right.
Which somehow, 80% of the time, you end up killing each other, which, how's that even possible? It's the hungry hippos of the video game world, slappers in 007. Like, it's just chaos. Everybody just mashing until somebody's a winner.
It's weird, 007, because I haven't played it in a while. I wonder how well it has aged. So maybe it's aged in a way where it's still fun because of those differences between, the very first first-person shooters,
Sure.
and then now modern first-person shooters where there's 360 movement, you have two directional joysticks that you can use. And
I think, as with any old game, there's some things that hold up and some that don't. I think the level design absolutely holds up. I think some of those levels are beautiful.
I think one of my favorite one was the one where you started in the bathroom.
Oh, yeah.
Or it was at the
facility.
Facility, yeah.
They all had such generic names. Facility, cave. Didn't even try to make it
Labyrinth.
Cool. Yep.
Yeah, that was my favorite one.
Room. That one's amazing, and especially that some of the levels had like two versions. One of which was like one floor, one had an actual basement.
Right.
So if you're playing with like two players and you don't want to just be lost the whole time, you could choose one, or multiplayer, you choose the other. I don't know. There's some things that still hold up there.
I like to go back and look at old PlayStation 1 games.
Yeah?
Yeah, because that's such a weird... Well, the Nintendo 64 too, to even more drastic extent, because a lot of N64 games, the polygons, that polygon era that first comes out and everyone thought it was great and amazing, and then you look back at it now and you're like, this looks awful. This looks absolutely terrible. I like going back and watching old Resident Evil videos from the PS1 era.
Oh, yeah.
Just for the voice acting alone. Because the voice acting is just, it's spot on.
Yep.
Voice acting is so good. Barry, where are you going? No, I think the first line when you enter the mansion, Barry looks around and he goes, "What is this?" Like, dude, you walked into a crazy, creepy mansion. The first thing you say is, "What is this?" It's like you're not holding like that's the kind of thing you say when you're like holding something. Like, "What is this?"
You just broke into someone's house. You're not supposed to say anything, man. Like,
you're supposed to say, "What the
they
fuck?"
train you at the academy? Like, jeez, thought you were special ops.
Stay here. I will walk around and look around.
Man,
yeah, it's fun.
I loved Resident Evil, but the controls were just
those tank controls. Yeah, those tank controls were kind of rough.
They're dreadful. That's one I'd love to see. I know they've done some remakes, but one that I don't know makes it a little more playable.
It scared the crap out of me though.
Oh, it's terrifying. Terrifying.
Those dogs coming out of the windows scared me every time. I knew it was going to happen.
Oh, it was awful. That's funny. That's the exact part that first made me squirm.
Yeah. And remember that? Do you remember that scene where you're rooting around like some room or whatever, and you find a diary, and then you read the diary, and it's the person writing the diary is like well thought out, and you're like, oh, I'm stuck here,
Yeah.
I can't get out. Like by page 5, it's like must eat
yes
brains or something like that.
Yes.
And it was super creepy, and as soon as you close out of that window to stop reading the diary, the zombie comes out of the closet. Yep. Oh man, scared the shit out of me.
Pioneering, man. Do you think that the horror genre is still alive and well, like being done well right now?
I'm not much of a horror game player, to tell you the truth.
Okay.
I just finished Days Gone. And the reason why I picked that up is because it's open world, and I've always kind of wanted there to be an open world zombie game with that is third person and not first person, because I'm not a big fan of first person games anymore, not as much as I used to be anyway.
Sure.
So I just finished it and it's great, but it's weird because I'm writing a full review for my YouTube channel now, but I'll run through the bullet points and how I was feeling as I was playing the game. It's like, all right, so you have an open world zombie game. Great. It's fantastic. But it also has like RPG elements to it too. So you got a progression system, and you have merchants to buy and sell.
Nice.
Buy and sell like meat and stuff that you hunt. You can hunt in the game, and you can you also can hunt in a sense the zombies.
I was about to ask, what kind of meat are we talking?
You hunt regular animals to turn in meat to the camps. And then every zombie that you kill, you take their ears, and you can sell their ears. And the more powerful the enemy, the more the ears, the more credits you get for those ears.
What do they do with the ears after you sell it to them?
I don't know.
Okay,
that's a weird sense of.
I don't need to follow that.
Bouts of currency there, but that's what it is. That is what it is. So that part's all well and great. Where I fall apart is like weapon durability. Like I hate weapon durability in any game, but in those games, because they're survival horror games, so they have to give you a sense of like, hey, we need to put some realism in the game
Sure.
here. So weapons break apart. But the weapon, it's really egregious.
Okay.
And same with The Last of Us 2. I hated weapon durability in Last of Us 2,
Yeah.
but crafting is a huge element in those games, and I'm not a big crafting kind of guy, like, I don't know, like, it's kind of frustrating because in other RPGs with weapon durability and stuff like that and crafting systems, you have a large amount of inventory and you can collect and collect and collect and collect. But in Days Gone, you are limited to a very small amount. And so you're forced to go out into the world and get items. You can't buy craftable items at camps, which is that's what pisses me off most about Days Gone.
Wow.
Is that there's the most important item, craftable piece of craftable material is scrap, which is used to fix your bike, which is your main mode of transportation in the game. So you have to fix your bike with scrap. You have to repair your melee weapon with scrap. You have to use scrap to craft bombs and stuff like that. So scrap is really, really important, and you can only hold, at first, 10 pieces. And you use a lot of scrap to do whatever it is. So you run out of scrap all the time.
I mean, that feels realistic. I could probably hold 8 pieces of scrap personally
so
right now.
I'm picky when it comes to these kind of things.
Out.
Like these I'm picky when it comes to those kind of things. Like, I understand why they did it, because it's survival. They put survive. So I knew that going in, but still, it still frustrates me because I'm like, I play RPGs, and usually when in RPGs, you have a bigger inventory.
Yeah.
You're not always forced to go out into the world to find certain things all the time. You can either, if you have enough credits, you can buy them at like a merchant or a blacksmith or something like that, which honestly, the way Days Gone feels sometimes, it does feel like it's an RPG, and it just stops short because it's also a horror game.
Yeah.
So it's like rubbing up against those two those two things.
Yeah, the durability thing's interesting because didn't fall. I'm a huge Fallout fan. I think we've been through that. Fallout 4 did away with that, whereas 3 in New Vegas. Right. Yes, of course.
Yeah, and people love Skyrim. It's one of the best games ever.
Right.
So my thing is like The Witcher 3, which is one of my favorite games, that also has weapon durability, but it's not as egregious as in like Days Gone or Last of Us.
That was the thing. It was a cool feature to add realism, but I didn't lose anything gameplay wise by not having that there either.
Yeah.
I was perfectly happy.
Right. You can do it like this. You can do it like this because Skyrim is strictly stat based. Right. So you get an iron sword first, and you're like, okay, now I got to get a steel sword. Steel sword's better than the iron sword. Move on from there, and then you get the elven sword, and then you get the what was it, the one after the elven sword?
There's no way I did
ebony,
order,
the ebony, ebony katana. It's strictly stat based. Oh, also, in Days Gone, the guns are stat based. They aren't. There's no weapon durability with the guns. So
okay,
why wouldn't a strict stack-based system work for melee weapons as well? I don't know. I just, like, that whole thing kind of threw me off a little bit. But anyway, what kept me going was the story. There's a part in the story where it takes a turn, and you're like, whoa, okay, now I'm really interested to see what's going to happen. And I kept going and kept playing, and then the map really opened up, and then I started to get what this game was wanting me to do. It's like, okay, now I got to run back out into the world, make sure I grab all the stuff, get all my items and stuff, and build all my bombs, and get stocked, if you will, to fight the next mission.
Now, are you a go after the main quest guy, or
No.
are you easily distracted?
No.
Okay.
Well, I'd finish all side quests first, then go on to the main quest.
Okay, that's
gain
how I
gain
roll.
as much experience as possible,
If
and
there's a
decimate
side
the main
quest available, by God.
Yeah. But see, like, it's funny, in Days Gone, there are side quests, and then, but it's like, because I sort of playing the game like an RPG, I kind of wanted to grind.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so used to grinding,
Same.
like the little itty bitty enemies, but like it took me a while to get me out of that mode. It's like, oh, just go to the quest. Just go to the side quest and go to the main quest before you do anything else. Like, the first thing I wanted to do was make my character as strong as possible.
Yeah.
And because it's an open world kind of setting, that's what you essentially do. Same thing with Spider-Man. Spider-Man's an open world kind of game too, and that's what you do. You're like just like finish all the small little side quests, make your character as strong as you possibly can before you move on to the next part of the story, and then you open up some more side quests and stuff like that.
Do you get a good amount of character customization in doing that?
In what? In Spider-Man or Days Gone?
Days Gone.
In Days Gone, there's no character customization really. The only customization you have is on your bike.
Okay.
So you can, paint, wheels,
I mean
tread.
more in terms of development, like developing certain skills or anything like that.
Oh, yeah. In the progression systems, it's okay. It's not the best that I've played, but then again, it's rubbing up against it's offending my RPG sensibilities a little bit, because they want to go full RPG, but then they pull back a little bit. For example, I'll give you an example. That whole realism thing that we were talking about earlier. All right, this kind of pisses me off about horror games, and I've had this conversation with my buddy Evan when we talk about realism in games and how developers put in. It seems anyway that developers put in realism to put the player at a disadvantage and never to give them an advantage. Ever. It never happens that way. It always is put in to make you at a disadvantage because real life is scary. I get it. So this is an example. Okay, number one. There's two examples I'll give you. Number one, your bike runs out of... That's actually not realistic. Never mind. The biggest one that like pissed me off is that you get a crossbow in the game. Have you watched The Walking Dead?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Of course.
Daryl Dixon. Yeah. He's one of the most badass characters, right? Crossbow.
Most beloved.
What is his move? Shoots anybody, shoots a zombie, whatever, and then pulls the crossbow, retrieves the arrow, right? You get a crossbow, and you can't retrieve the arrow, but you can get a skill to have a chance to retrieve your arrow. See what I'm saying? Like, they don't go full... They
if we're going to be realistic about it.
But is that really realistic? Like, if I shoot...
No, that's what I mean. It was like, chances are the arrow survives if the zombie does not.
Right. Right? Like, that just kind of pissed me off a little bit. I was like, what are you doing? Like, make me feel like a badass.
Oh, I would absolutely be over there humping the body like, where is it?
Yeah. And so, like, I thought I was going to be the next Daryl Dixon, like, pulling out my crossbow and just freaking zombies everywhere, but no. I mean,
oh man,
that kind of made me like. See, but that's what I'm talking about. Like, it wants to give you an advantage, but then pulls back and makes you frustrated a little bit. And then your bike runs out of fuel way too fast in the beginning of the game. Like, upgrading your fuel tank is essential immediately.
Okay,
and it's just kind of annoying. Because it's annoying. It's like, have you ever played Final Fantasy 15? You know how you have to kind of like, have you ever played that game?
I've never done that one, I'm sorry.
All right, well, it's like kind of, the whole point of the game is you're in a sort of like a road trip with your buddies. And so, you're in the car, but your car runs out of gas after a while.
Okay.
You have to go and get fuel. And there's like this cinematic every time you feel your... Because it's Final Fantasy.
Orchestra swell.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, this is not necessary. Fortunately, you can skip it. So you can just skip that part and fill up your car. And it wasn't annoying to me. It wasn't. I don't know why, but it just wasn't annoying to me. In this one, it's like your bike is empty 5 minutes after you've been driving. It's crazy. And there are spots to infinitely refuel, which makes it tolerable, but at the same time, it's like, well, if I have infinite spots to refuel, why even make the bike have no fuel? Like, the whole fuel thing, again, you're putting in realism.
Essentially playing the game on a bird scooter. Like, it's just...
So the idea is that you're going to customize, you got to upgrade, they want to give you a reason.
That's how they get you.
Yeah. But it's like, that's... There are better ways, I think. Like, the whole fuel mechanic, I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah, anything that gets tedious like that. I mean, again, players don't mind grinding. We don't mind doing stuff like that. But when you're just having to do it just to continue playing, it gets a little silly.
Yeah, so... But anyway, towards the end of the game, I started to understand what they were wanting me to do, and then I end up really liking the game. So, that's...
Nice.
That's it. And now I'm playing Dragon Quest XI. I needed some old school RPG love right now, and it's
Well,
great.
I've told you this. I've told you this before, and I'll say it again. If you need the old school RPG love, you asked me what Switch games I'm especially excited about. I'm in the middle of Octopath Traveler.
Dude, I mean,
Shane, you need this in your life. Especially if you come from the 16-bit JRPG sort of mindset.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sort of the Stranger Things of the JRPGs in that they've just taken everything you loved about that whole era and mashed it all into one game.
Yeah, I need to get it. I had my eye on that for a very long time.
Most of the mechanics I can link back to either a Final Fantasy game or a Chrono Trigger or some other Square thing.
Yeah.
But it's incredibly well done. You have 8 characters and those 8 character classes. Things I find unique about it, obviously in any RPG, characters have special abilities in battle.
Yeah, right.
That they bring to the table. In this game, they have special abilities socially, like in the towns.
Oh.
Depending on who's in your party, changes the way you can interact with the townspeople.
Oh, that's cool.
And the way you can get things from them or get information from them or open up side quests. Oh. And so, I mean, there are times when you're walking around and you realize, I should probably have this other person in my party doing this. Like, I'm not getting out of this person what I need. I need to bring somebody else in.
Star Ocean was like that.
Really?
Yeah. Star Ocean actually never. This first Star Ocean game, if I remember correctly, didn't come out here in the States when it was out on Super Nintendo. But I did play a ROM of it a little while back.
Okay.
And that was part of the game, is where they do certain people can unlock certain side events.
Yep.
I think they actually called them events.
Okay.
If I remember correctly.
No, it's definitely borrowing from that sort of mechanic.
Yeah.
And
they're missable too, which made it like even more frustrating. Because like, gosh, dang it, I missed that event. But it's,
oh man,
yeah,
that's tough.
Yeah,
man, there's
kind of
nothing more
groundbreaking if you think about it. Like, back in those days,
it adds a little replay value, maybe.
Yeah,
but you come to a point at some point in the game where you can start giving your characters secondary jobs.
Oh,
so
that's cool.
Even though you can only have 4 in your party, they can be sort of learning the skills of the people who aren't in your party, so to speak, or however you choose to build it. So all this customization opens up for how you want to play the game and build your party and whatnot. And man, it's done well.
Dude. Yeah, I need to get a Switch, man.
And
I need to get a Switch in
I'm
my
the
life.
idiot who absolutely takes on bosses a good 20 levels before I have any business doing so. I spent my last Thursday night at home as my last night at home last weekend. I was attempting a boss, and each attempt was taking me on average an hour to an hour and 15 minutes.
Jeez, man.
Third try was the charm. But that shows you how long I sat there without doing any additional grinding. Just like, okay, we're going to try a different arrangement of skills or whatever.
Dude, yeah, I'm the complete opposite. I want to like.
You want to be a tank before you ever walk in the door.
Yeah, dude. I have this thing in my like. I don't know. I play video games to decimate people. I love that feeling of destroying people.
It was motivated by that because I knew that the boss that I was taking on would open up like a new character class kind of thing that I could train people in.
Okay,
I can create a better juggernaut.
Yeah,
if I can break down this door. I see what
you're saying.
And so I was desperate and I shouldn't have done it, but by God, I did.
Yeah. Like, that's the reason why I still like Dynasty Warriors games. You ever played Dynasty Warriors?
No.
Oh, they're great. There's Koei Tecmo, yeah, or Bandai. I can't remember.
Okay.
But anyway, you're on a battlefield and you're the super strong character right at the beginning. And there's like a million characters that you can choose from, and they're all based on like Chinese folklore.
Nice.
Yeah, and so.
Educational games.
Yeah, they are. They're telling you the story of something that happened in China way back when. And it's the same story. I think there's 15 games, more than 15 games that are essentially the same game. You start and then just you're decimating armies with just like swings of swords, just
Okay.
and you got a counter, you got a kill count list. Like every time you kill somebody, you'll get up to like 1,000, and the more you get, the more powerful you get during the game. You're like, it's just like, it's just ridiculous, but it's so fun.
Yeah.
It's so fun. You just feel like a god on the battlefield. And who doesn't want to feel like a god on the battlefield? It's amazing.
And again, the time I put into Skyrim was doing that specifically.
Yeah.
It was just getting the best, most enchanted armor, and by the time I encountered the final boss, I think I killed him in 3 hits. I mean, it was comical.
You should get since you haven't played a Dynasty Warriors game, you should get, I believe, Hyrule Warriors for the Switch.
I've heard I need to do that.
Yeah, that'll give you a
That's
taste.
a good battle.
That'll give you a taste of, because it's made by the same people. Well, it's
Okay.
helped. It's like published by Nintendo, but
Sure.
made by the same people who made Dynasty Warriors. So yeah, it's the
Okay.
same sort of thing, and also Dragon Quest Warriors too, as well. They're the same sort of idea.
Got
you
it.
just put a Dragon Quest story on it, and yeah. So you're just battling armies, like thousands of people, just with
man.
swings of
Okay.
swords. Yeah,
I'm
it's
in with
crazy. It's awesome. So much fun.
N-
Now, hang on. We were on the Switch.
Yeah.
What do you think about the new Nintendo Switch Lite that's about to come out? We kind of had a small little conversation on Instagram the other day.
I see where there's a place for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I love being able to plug it in at home, but honestly, the biggest upside for the Switch in general for me is travel.
Right.
I travel a lot, and it is just a godsend for flights.
Yeah.
And van rides and you name it. It's wonderful. And I have my little accessory set up, with the little stand that I put it on, and
Right.
the little controller.
Yeah.
And, I've even got this company, I think they're called Genki, Genki, that makes a little Bluetooth dongle where you can use your Apple iPods or AirPods or whatever they are with the system.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So I just create my own little fort there on the airplane. And so yeah, I can totally see that. My thing is just it's already a cheaper system.
My thing is,
there aren't many scenarios where I wouldn't pay the extra $100 to get the full size. But if you got, I think for kids or something like that, or just the ones that run around doing the DS thing anyway.
Yeah,
why not?
Yeah, I think that's my confusion. Is like, it's called the Switch.
But it no
doesn't
longer switches.
switches.
Yeah, it switches on and off.
So I feel like a buddy of mine on Instagram said that they're doing the Wii U all over again. They're so like, maybe not that far, but I can see where you're going, because it's like it's the same name, but it does different things. So I don't know. I think I'm just going to get a regular Switch, or maybe I'll just still wait and hold out for the Switch Pro, which is either it's rumored to come out and then Nintendo says no, and then another rumor's come out.
They've never said it's not happening. They just keep
kicking the can down the road.
Yeah. So
if the Switch Lite was able to have an HDMI out into the or like you're able to HDMI out from the thing and then have a Pro controller. Because I like
now,
that idea.
It will still run the Pro controllers. It has the Bluetooth and whatnot, so that's helpful. But
it doesn't have an HDMI out to your television.
Right? Yeah. And honestly, man, there's nothing like just sticking it in the dock. It's just
It's a very
so
satisfying.
darn convenient. They nailed it. Like they did it right. Yeah, I'm excited to see what the Switch Pro brings to the table. I mean, I guess the one thing I would hope, I know it's not the most strategic thing, is, that it would open up for even more games that are exclusive to other systems to be ported over. Because I love the game selection that we have with the Switch right now. I think it's plenty to keep you busy for a little while, but obviously there are games I'm missing out on by being devoted to that,
Well, I mean, you're getting The Witcher.
I'm very excited.
I just still can't believe they're going to be able to put the whole thing too. The whole thing, including all the DLC, which is half as long as the original game, which is just insane. You're going to love that game. You're going to love The Witcher. You're going to freaking love it.
Yeah, like the way I see it is Octopath is going to get me through till Link's Awakening, and that'll get me through till Witcher, and that'll get me through till whatever follows. Probably the next Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, yeah. If you're a fan of Game of Thrones, or at least up until season 8, because season 8 was very divisive. I don't know if we had a small talk about season 8, but we don't need to get into that because that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
But if you're into that sort of like fantasy, but also with a sense of realism, that kind of thing, and really strong storylines.
Adult fantasy.
I do the fantasy. Yeah, I don't know about the Switch Lite though. I don't know. Like, I mean, maybe if they didn't call it the Switch Lite, but I guess like what else are you gonna call it? I
think it's targeted at the youngins. I think it's for the kids.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I do like that they put the D-pad on the left side. That was an upgrade.
Yeah,
that was one of the
I heard
upgrades.
about that. Yeah,
it's a big deal
because it doesn't have the Switch.
It just got the buttons, man.
Yeah, just the directional buttons.
A little clunky.
Yeah.
Can't quite pull off your Street Fighter moves on that guy.
Street Fighter moves.
Your Hadoken success rate is greatly influenced.
Man, freaking Street Fighter, dude. Oh, and Dragon Quest XI. By the way, Dragon Quest XI. I didn't know this until just now. Dragon Quest XI has 3 different graphical modes for the Switch and PS4. So check it out. The PS4 is HD. It's got high fidelity graphics, that kind of stuff. And then the Switch version has a 16-bit in the same game. So it's a mode. So you can switch to 16-bit or cel shaded sprites.
Come on.
Yeah.
I love that this is a trend because I've seen elsewhere, like some of the LucasArts games, Curse of Monkey Island, because you can get that on like iOS now. You can switch between the original like 80s, 90s graphics and the current ones.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And you can do it instantaneously during the game. Even the new Mario Maker 2 for Switch.
How is that? Is that a lot of fun, Mario Maker?
I've never spent a whole lot of time in it, but they had this booth set up at one of our shows last weekend, so naturally I'd be lined right there and just beat up on kids and smash. I was that guy in the booth. Just
taking it way too
It was
seriously.
Mario Kart, actually. I'm miserable at Smash, but Kart, I can hold my own. Sir, you're going to have to leave now. No, I have it all access. But no, they had the Mario Maker, and you could choose... you could choose what era Mario you wanted your level to be. So it sort of had like Super Mario World, some 8-bit stuff, and then like the modern looking Mario, and you could choose which era you wanted the level to even sit in.
Oh, dude, that's
which was
cool.
Really darn cool.
That's super cool.
Again, I'm old and I appreciate such things.
I wonder if
Make it look blocky again.
I wonder
we
if
all
that's-
had glaucoma in the 90s.
I wonder if that's brought on by, at least in the iOS ports, the Secret of Monkey Island. I don't know when that came out, but I do remember this controversy when Final Fantasy VI came out on iOS, and they went with this weird sort of they covered the pixels, so it was like sort of cartoony, but not really. It was really, and it just looked terrible.
Yeah.
And the fan base made their opinion known on the social media.
Because 6 was a beautiful game.
Yeah. And so
6 didn't need to be improved, man.
Yeah, it wasn't. They just wanted to like just make the pixels look better. That's it. You didn't need a color over it.
Yep.
Yeah. So it was just like they did a little weird art thing, and so I wonder if they're like, so you have the option now to go back and actually play the original version, like as it was supposed to be. Good. Maybe. I don't know.
How do you feel about the 7 remake that is finally...
Dude, I am so excited.
Finally becoming a thing.
I am so excited, and I'm also excited. I was surprised that it was going to come out.
Now, they have teased that they're tweaking the story a bit.
Yeah, I think they should.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I don't think they'll have a choice because, those games are
because of the floating body controversy, or what are we getting out of here?
Well, those games are so long. How long was 7? 4 discs?
Yeah.
On the PlayStation?
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was incredible. But, what are you going to do? Are you going to have 4 discs on the PS4? Maybe you should. That's just a lot to ask for in today's like modern, super high fidelity graphics and voice acting, and that's a lot and a lot of money. Like it'd be the most expensive game ever made.
Do you like for games to have full voice acting or just like cutscene interspersed? Like Because I'm on the
I don't
fence
know.
about it.
It has to be good. It has to be good voice acting.
That's true.
You know, if it's good, keep going. I love it.
Because one of my issues with the ones that have it full, and again, I love the Fallout and Skyrim series, but you get the same actors covering 100 different characters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's
Like,
cheaper.
right. And I don't blame them for having to do it that way, but after a while, I sort of get this weird sort of ear fatigue where I just don't want to hear any of them talk. Like,
then I took an arrow in the knee.
I killed you like an hour ago. Like, you're back, but you're like an orc now.
I think over time they're going to get better with that. The Witcher 3 actually does really good job doing making it really diverse as far as the actors are concerned.
Octopath has full acting in the cutscenes and in anything that's sort of plot driven, but then in your normal interactions, it's just like, hey,
yeah,
you know,
that's most like JRPGs now.
Right.
Like I'm again playing, Dragon Quest 11 has the same thing. Where silent protagonist, by the way, which I'm like, oh, this is a return to form. It's because it always was a silent protagonist for a while.
Hey, all you ever heard from Link was just the yells, man. That's the way it's ought to be.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. So, and it's weird. It's like weird playing a game with HD graphics on the PS4, the most modern of consoles, and it's so retro and old school at the same time with turn-based battles, like so true to form. And it made me wonder, I was like, wow, you know what's crazy? Like Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy at one point were like competing with one another back in the day.
Dragon Warrior was the OG.
Yeah. Dragon War. Well, if memory serves, it was called Dragon Quest in Japan, but Dragon Warrior in America.
So those are one and the same.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
They're the same company, same
My
game.
mistake.
But because America, for some odd reason, they had to change the game's name if they came over from Japan. I don't know why. Like, for example, Final Fantasy 2 here in America is actually Final Fantasy 4, and then it just confused everybody.
Numbering.
I don't know why.
Because they just skipped entire games.
Yeah, well, there's that reason. But then there was a stipulation why they couldn't call it Dragon Quest. I don't know why.
Interesting.
I do not know why. I can't remember. Probably like threat of a lawsuit because another board game was called
some
Quest
of them were just
or something.
marketing. Earthbound, one of my all-time favorite games, but that was the Mother series over there.
Right.
Which I need to dive back into ROMs because somebody told me that Mother 3 was actually the best one. But I've heard, it's like Earthbound over here, like.
Why didn't they call it Mother? I don't know. That's weird.
Marketing.
Marketing. Yeah. But anyway, it's refreshing to play an old school but also modern, straight up JRPG.
I like the ones that are, again, and it may just be nostalgia, but are combining those worlds effectively.
Yeah, but to answer your question about the voice acting, I'm a sucker for really good voice acting, and to be like, I'm kind of interested in seeing trying my hand at it. For a while there, I really wanted to do it, but and maybe I will attempt it one of these days. But I don't know. But that just kind of fascinates me because just watching actors in the studio have them look at the screen, and then they have their script in front of them. Especially like animes where they scream and they and for all intents and purposes have a ridiculous storyline going on, but they have to take it really seriously.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that kind of fascinates me. So when it's really good, I'm like, yes, I appreciate this. This is really cool. And in other times, I'm kind of like, you missed the mark there, bud. Yeah. You missed the mark there, bucko.
Sometimes if they miss the mark far enough, it becomes entertaining again. But
right, it's so bad it's good. Yeah, it's so bad it's good kind of thing. Like, again, Resident Evil. Like, I'll watch it all the time. Like, God, I can't believe they thought this was great.
Man, I don't know if there's a single one in that game that was particularly great voice acting. But I did love some of the characters. I think it was it in 4, the one that was set in like Eastern Europe?
Yeah, that's when they actually started to become a little bit better.
The little Rumpelstiltskin character guy
that would sell you items.
No, he was an enemy. He owned the castle or something.
Oh wait, yeah, it's been so long since I've played that game. I can't remember.
Had such a terrible cackly little laugh, and oh man. That's actually one of my favorite ones.
Dude, yeah, Resident Evil 4 when they did the over the shoulder thing.
We played it on the Wii we played the Wii port of it, and it took advantage of the Wii controls.
Oh yeah, you could like aim with the Wii controller. Yeah.
I wish every Resident Evil was playable in that format.
Yeah, I tried to play Resident Evil 5 on the 360 with the over the shoulder, and I was like, I don't like this at all.
Yeah.
I hate this, and so I stopped playing Resident Evil games after that.
I think 5 is I think that was the end of the road for us too. That was the Africa one, right?
Yeah, the one that was set in Africa. Yeah. I was like, no, done.
Yeah,
done
my wife's the biggest Resident Evil fan.
Did you ever like the movies?
Man, I appreciate the movies. It's sort of like, I wouldn't pay to see these in a theater, but if it's late at night and I'm bored or drunk or something, sometimes that's just the flashy lights that I need to sort of engage.
Yes. I think
they're strangely entertaining, and what's her face that is sort of the lead role, and it actually does a really, really kick-ass job.
What's her name again?
I'm not going to come up with it.
But she's like a Polish or Russian name or something.
Like that. She is fantastic, but I didn't mind them. As far as video game inspired movies go, you can do far worse.
Yes.
Far worse.
What's the worst one that you've ever watched?
I mean, dude, the Mario Brothers is really tough. Really tough to get past. I mean, John Leguizamo, man. Bless him.
I think the casting for Mario and John for Mario and Luigi, I think that was okay. The actual casting part of it.
Sure.
I thought that would have been good because, and then what's his name? The guy from Roger Rabbit. I forget his name. Yeah. But I thought he was being a good Mario. Him or Joe Pesci. Joe Pesci was good. Joe Pesci or...
I wish.
What's his name? He's on Always Sunny.
Oh, DeVito.
Yeah, Danny DeVito. Put Danny DeVito in there as Mario.
Make him Toad.
Both of them are all Italian New Yorkers, whatever. Freaking.
Yeah, I don't know if you do much worse than that.
That's pretty bad. No, you know what? I think I would much rather watch the Mario movies over the Dragon, the Double Dragon movies.
I don't think I even did.
Oh, dude, you need.
How do you mess that up? It's just, that one just has to be mindless kung fu. Like
you'd think, right?
Yeah, there's nowhere. Man.
I can't even remember the plot, but it's just all I remember is that it's a terrible movie.
If you could see one of your beloved video games made into a proper movie,
which one would it be?
Yeah,
it would be Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Okay, now
no, they did that.
I know.
And it's. I hate to break it to you if you haven't done it, but it's not much better than the Mario thing.
Look, it's not, but it's for me, it's so bad it's good kind of. So I'll rewatch Street Fighter because
wasn't Van Damme in that?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm a big still to this day, like Van Damme could do no wrong. Okay, so I'll watch that and realize that it's a terrible movie, but I still get a kick out of it.
That's fair.
So, but Street Fighter is a tournament of fighters fighting in the street. That's all it is. That's all it needs to be. You can make a good one. You can make a good Street Fighter movie just with that base alone. Like, you can.
They made Bloodsport.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can make another Bloodsport. Yeah, I guess you're right. I guess that's been done over and over again. But I guess I kind of like. I don't know. What other video game would I love to be turned into a movie? For a second there, I was kind of excited for a Mass Effect movie. Because I was really big into Mass Effect there for a while. But then I realized, well, Mass Effect is already a movie. It essentially is a movie video game anyway.
Man, I wouldn't want to see it done badly, but I feel like Metroid could work. We're in an era where we need a few more female protagonists, especially in Hollywood, and that's starting to be a thing. I'd like to see that done right.
Yeah, Metroid could be cool.
And we're sort of due for a good Alien movie anyway, with the storming of Area 51 coming up and everything.
Do you think that really is going to happen?
Oh, I sure hope so. By God, I sure hope so.
Dude, would you be the first? Dude, who's going to be the people on the front line? They ain't going to be me.
That was a question that came up the other day, and I was talking to somebody. It's like, how do they decide who the front line is for this? Like, do we have volunteers? Like, I want to be the first to see them.
Well, not to see that. Okay, look, I'm telling you this right now. If this happens, the people on the front line aren't going to be the ones seeing the aliens. The people on the front lines are the ones getting assassinated by the guards.
Oh, I saw a meme the other day that was like 5 seconds into the attack, and it was just this picture of Area 51 would just revive, like the little triangles all around it.
Dude, if I was the government, this is what I would do. All right, I would troll them so hard.
Yes.
I would remove all of the top secret shit that's in there. And I would put in like, old Hollywood aliens, like the actual alien and, the space invaders and, just weird stuff that like...
You're right. They need to bring out all the weird ones like Mars Attacks and stuff like
Mars
that
Attacks!
And have those hanging out.
Yes. Dude, that movie was so weird
have
and fun.
the Men in Black aliens. Just have all the... Yes.
Yes, that's what I would do. And Trump's in office. He'd do it. He'd be the one to do it. It's like, this is what we're going to do. We're gonna remove all the aliens, and we're going to put the fake aliens in there.
You know what? Serious for a second. And I read this take on Twitter the other day, and I don't know who to credit it to, but it actually got me thinking. The most credible, sort of testimony that we have that aliens do exist is Donald Trump could not give a rat's ass about space, about the moon, about NASA, anything before he was in office. The man's in office for less than 2 years, and all of a sudden he wants to start a space force?
Yeah.
He has learned something.
Yeah. Dude, I made a joke.
He used to rag on NASA about being the biggest waste of money, and now all of a sudden he wants a space force.
Yeah.
Something changed his mind.
Yeah, you know who also agrees with the space force? Ironically enough, freaking Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Really?
Yeah. He was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he was like, I think a space force would be just fine.
All right.
And then he went into a very intelligent way
I'm
of
sure he
agreeing
had
with
reasoning for it.
It was
this will be
because
cool.
that was surprising at first. And then I think it was something along the lines of like everything that has ever been innovated that we use today has been made for the military first.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that was his reasoning.
Sure.
So like satellites and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was all military. It's not. It
military
wasn't just
and
like
NASA have been sort of the drivers of innovation, and especially in the tech sector. Yeah,
right.
It's incredible.
And so I mean, yeah, we have phones, but I'm pretty sure like some of that technology was first used on military stuff.
Oh yeah.
The little itty bitty parts of
Yep.
of phones and computers
man.
and stuff.
No,
like that.
I hope it goes down. I think.
I made a Twitter. I made a
Dude,
tweet.
I think given the circumstances, it could be better than the Battle of Winterfell. I really do.
the Battle of Winterfell.
Yeah.
Oh, Jon Snow.
I think we have yet to see the best battle of 2019, my friend.
I hope it happens, and I hope no one gets hurt. That's all. That is all I said. Because, dude, man, I lived in Vegas. Like, I lived not near Area 51, but that was, Nevada. And, I had friends that they got turned away. Not friends, but like I had friends who had friends that drove all the way up there. And there's all these signs that say, look, we have snipers. If you go past this point, you will be shot dead.
Yeah.
Point blank. Now, I don't, who's brave enough to just go after you see that sign?
Wasn't there that one guy who did manage to hop a fence there in the last year?
I've never heard that. Maybe, but yeah. Did he?
Probably
did he
from Florida.
Shot?
I don't remember. I feel like there was one that got close.
And even then, it's like, so yeah, you climb the fence. What now? Are you just going to storm the wall by yourself?
I sort of see myself doing the Kronk thing from Emperor's New Groove, like doing my own theme. He's like, ba-da-da, ba-da-da. I don't know. Yeah. What is the plan? How much of the plan will we know?
I don't know. I'm still on the fence if there's even aliens there. Did you listen to the Joe Rogan podcast at all?
Not really.
Do you know who Bob Lazar is? Bob Lazar is a
name?
Very interesting character because he has been around for years talking about Area 51. He said he used to work there.
This is the guy, yes.
He said he used to work there, and he said he's been saying the same story pretty much for the longest time. And there's proof of the government trying to erase him.
Right.
Saying that he never went to this university, never even went to this school, but there's newspaper clippings that have him in the school.
Yeah.
They cite him and this, that, and the other. So there's that. They try to take away its birth certificate and that stuff like that. Weird stuff like that. But the weirdest thing that he said was that in what he was working on and what he used to work on these certain things was using this element called element 115.
Okay.
And he's been saying that since like the 90s. Okay. And no one believed him. It's like, oh, it's a made up element. Well, 20 years later, here comes the scientific community saying, hey, we found this new element called element 115.
Sure.
Meanwhile, when they said that, everyone looked at this Bob Lazar guy and said, wait a minute. Wait a minute. He said the same element, and you guys say it's a thing.
Sure.
Okay. So that's kind of weird. That's kind of strange. There's also another discrepancy or another thing that makes him look like he's actually telling the truth was the way that they would scan in was this weird, what they do it's not a fingerprint scanner, but it was a scanner that would scan the bone structure of your bones. And apparently it didn't really work very well, so they got rid of it.
Okay.
And so he would tell people about this scanning technology. No one believed that it even existed because it worked so terribly. And so no one would, no one believed it even existed. Well, come to find out, it did exist because of some other place actually used it, and then someone had emailed this guy who was making a documentary on Bob Lazar. It's like, hey, it actually does exist. This is what it is, and it has a picture and a video, and this is what people did. And Bob Lazar looked at it and goes, yeah, that's exactly what I was using. And it was described to the T. So weird things.
Sure.
Weird things.
Things normal people shouldn't know.
Yeah.
Bob
he says he
Lazar
worked there.
knows.
He said he saw flying saucers. So he saw things that are not of this world. He saw things that don't work with our version of physics. Like, it's just impossible for these things to work.
Yeah.
But they do. And so, yeah, you should listen to that podcast. It's Bob Lazar, Joe Rogan.
Yeah. I mean,
he goes into it in detail, and it's very fascinating. You're kind of like, man, he sounds like he's telling the truth, man.
Sure.
But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. There's another, like, a reporter that Joe Rogan had on talking about that same subject, about the Roswell landings, and she said they were Russian bodies, but the Russians made them deformed. Something to that effect.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's interesting too. That's an interesting take on it, because at the time we were sort of like, not really good friends with the Russians, So
right.
I don't know.
You know me, man. I welcome our coming robot overlords. I'm already ready to have at it, boys.
Yeah, I go back and forth on it. I want it to be real. I want Bigfoot to be real too.
I want Bigfoot to have his space. They've been after him for so long. I just want him to have a peaceful night at home.
Do you ever go into YouTube and look up Megalodon videos?
No.
Oh man, it's great. Because it doesn't exist, but you're still like hoping that there's this one video that pops up on YouTube and you finally see the look how big this shark is. It's the Megalodon. Yeah, I want the Megalodon to be real. Because that's one of my biggest fears is like being in a submarine and you're in like the deepest parts of the ocean, and all of a sudden you see this freaking,
it's just the mouth,
large, yeah. Not the mouth, but just like it like goes across from you, like it goes horizontally, and you just the light, because you're in the darkness and the light hits the fins, and you're like, oh!
Are you ever going to try this?
Hell no.
Okay.
But still, I think about that. I get kind of excited.
I know what I'd do if I did. Of course.
I get like shivers when I think about that.
I don't think about mythical creatures as often as I should. I'm glad you're bringing that up.
Or like the Mothman.
I should spend a little more time.
Dude, the Mothman Prophecies. You ever
seen
that movie?
Anything about that?
Oh,
no.
The Mothman. Great, man. It's a great movie. Well, it's been
Is
a while
like
since
the
I
meme?
watched.
Does he just like lamps? Can I get a lamp?
No, the Mothman. So there was this horrifying bridge collapse in I don't know which city, but it was some city, some small town, and it killed like 30 30 people, 40 people. They were just in their cars. It was like a traffic jam or whatever.
nice.
And the bridge
Okay.
gave out and killed all these people. Well, before that, people were seeing sightings of this big, giant moth-like creature with giant red eyes. And there is this story by this reporter. Now, it's probably really fake, and this is what the movie is based on.
Yeah.
The reporter kept on hearing or getting calls from this like weird voice that was essentially warning him that this event was going to happen, and apparently it happened to other people too. And then so the reporter's trying to tell everyone, hey, a horrible event's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen, but everyone just be on their guard. And all of a sudden, bridge collapses and kills all these people.
This is in the movie.
It's in the movie, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Mothman Prophecies, starring Richard Gere.
As the Mothman?
No, he's the reporter.
He's so handsome. Those eyes.
Yeah, but the Mothman's that's a good story. I like that one. Loch Ness classic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I would do the Loch Ness. I would do a submarine in Loch Ness.
Oh, absolutely.
Because
Yeah.
if you have a good enough submarine, I wouldn't think he'd be strong enough to swallow the whole submarine like the Megalodon would be.
You tend to think of Nessie as being friendly.
Yeah.
That's the way she's normally painted.
Yeah, I would like to see Nessie.
Yeah.
What's the other mythical creature that was? Oh, and of course, aliens. You got aliens too.
Doesn't Canada have their own version of Nessie?
Yeah, every state and every province has their version.
I just got hip to that one recently. Yeah. Learned a lot about Canada being on the road with Lindsay L.
Yeah.
All sorts of things. We were watching Canadian football the other day. I'd never even seen it.
CFL, dude. That's where Kurt Warner's from.
Why is the end zone so long?
I actually didn't realize the end zone was that long.
It's double.
Really?
Yeah, but the goalposts are right up front, like it's a hazard.
But they have different. Yeah, they definitely have different rules, and some of the rules the NFL actually grabs some rules from them. I can't remember which rules, but yeah, the NFL tried to do a European football league for a while.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you remember the XFL?
Well. Yes.
Yeah.
They're coming back with it.
What?
Yeah.
Is He Hate Me coming back?
He hate me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I talked about it on this podcast a while back. Yeah, Vince McMahon is rebooting the XFL, and he wants it to be a lot more football and a lot less.
Does he now?
Whatever the hell the original was.
Does he now?
Yeah. Yes.
God bless that man just for the memes.
Apparently, according to some football YouTube channels that I've watched from time to time, apparently he's making all the right moves as trying to be a competitor with NFL.
Sure.
Which there's been, over the years, there have been competitors, but NFL seems to just continue to monopolize the market.
Yeah, they got the heritage for sure. So
it'll be interesting.
a lot of people's loyalties go back generations.
Yeah.
It's tough to break.
Speaking of Vince McMahon, did you ever get into wrestling as a kid? Did you ever watch wrestling as a kid?
Briefly in high school, my friends and I would make our own amateur wrestling videos. So I had to watch some amount of it to know what I was doing. And after my freshman year of college, I did have a friend who, very well-educated guy, but for him, wrestling was just the perfect mental break for him. Like when he just needed to zone out and just not think and get out of it. I think he was in grad school at the time or whatever, but when he just needed to zone out, that was the perfect little pill that he could take, was just an hour of that. And he got us tickets to a WrestleMania.
No way. That's super cool.
How was whatever they were called at that point. I remember being thoroughly entertained the entire time, but more than anything, I remember this 5-year-old girl behind us who not only believed everything was real, but also kept shouting things like, "I believe in you, John Cena!
I believe in you.
I believe!" And that stuck with me. Like, that's just, that file will never get deleted, it's in there. And so I wouldn't say I was devoted, but I appreciated the mythology of it, and I had the My Buddies, the Macho Man and stuff like that. So, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I had the My Buddies too.
Oh, they were amazing.
Yeah, they were incredible. Yeah, we would always bring that onto the trampoline. Yeah, that was. But every now and then I go back and I watch like the inner workings of the old WWF, which is now called WWE, of course. And I'm just like, I'm kind of fascinated by like how they do it, how they tell the stories. They get a written storyline going, and then they go, and then in the ring, how they tell each other moves, and they talk to each other in the ring, and how they like what move is about to come up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And when you know that, it's like, wow, that's actually kind of difficult when you're like trying to, and you got to remember all the moves. You got to remember like what moves do what, and then you watch matches where like ladder matches. They're real ladders. They're not fake ladders. They're real ladders. The chairs are real too.
Oh, my dad used to work at the Knoxville Coliseum, and he just mopping the floors after concerts. But he got to go and watch all that stuff, and they had the ring up after one of them. And him and his friends horsed around on it. He said he had bruises all up and down. He said that thing is not soft. Like if you take a slam on that thing, you feel it.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's spring loaded, but still.
So when you know that, you have a new sort of appreciation.
Oh yeah,
even though you know it's fake, and even though like they
these guys are still brutalizing each other in one form or another. Like,
like the Mankind era, and like like Mankind, man, that dude took a 20-foot fall onto a table.
Unreal, yeah.
I thought he died. I thought he actually died.
He did, didn't he?
No. You're talking about. You're thinking of Owen Hart.
That was a much longer fall.
Owen Hart fell from the rafters because he was gonna.
That was it.
What's the rope? He was gonna rope down. Not rope. There's a fancy
belayer,
name. Fancy name for it. But he fell straight down.
Yeah, that was it. Sorry.
Yeah. So, yeah, and then my favorite wrestler. For a while, there was Goldberg. For a while, you remember Goldberg?
So big.
Yeah, the guy. Dude, but you watch it even today. I still like smile every time I see him spear somebody. I'm get him, Goldberg. And he was so intense, he's just a big, huge, like football player looking dude, and just like his entrance where he would come in, and then the pyros would flash on him, so he's just getting pelted with all this fire and stuff, and then he comes out and the smoke comes out of his mouth. I'm like, this guy is all man. Like, this guy is it's not a man, it's a monster.
And one of those guys is the mayor of my hometown now, over in Knoxville.
Oh, Kane, right?
Kane, yeah.
Yeah.
Jesse Ventura, of course. I
mean, got Jesse Ventura.
Spawned some good leaders.
Dude, I'm telling you, ever since Trump, I freaking rock. The Rock could come in.
Oh, that would work fine.
Well, I'll tell you this: what Trump has done, anybody can be president now.
Man, Dwayne Johnson with Chris Rock running mate. They do it.
Dwayne Johnson, Stone Cold Steve Austin, VP and president. I will vote for those two.
Oh, boy.
Well, I think we've covered a whole lot.
It's been a journey.
It has been a journey. Dude, I appreciate you coming down, man.
I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, this has been a lot of fun. I've been wanting to have you on for a while, and I'll have you on again, and we'll talk more.
Love the show.
Video games stuff.
A long time watcher, first time caller.
Dude, I should have callers. That'd be fun.
Oh, please.
If I did it live.
That'd be amazing.
Although
even not live. Just
I'm kind of wary about live streaming though. I've seen people. Dude, there was this incident that happened recently at Twitch. Not Twitch. Well, he's on Twitch. What's his name? I forget his name. Dr. Disrespect. Did you hear about this?
No.
So, do you know who Dr. Disrespect is?
I do not.
He's a Twitch streamer. He kind of has his
name is very on the nose.
Yeah, very on the nose. He's like he has this moniker where he's like sort of like this 80s. I haven't watched any of his videos, but this is what I understand of him. He's like he has this persona where he's like this 80s like douche, but he's like but he's playing video games, so he has that sort of persona. So anyway, Twitch has an in real life stream. You can just stream anywhere, and stream it, whatever. Okay. So he had at E3 this year, he had the bright idea to go into a bathroom like he had to go to the bathroom, right? And so they go into a bathroom and they're live streaming into a live, and there's people around. There's a part where there's a kid in there, and
boy.
So he's in the bathroom and doing his thing, and he's streaming this, and that's illegal. You can't.
It certainly is.
So he gets kicked out of E3. He gets kicked off of Twitch. He's suspended from Twitch. They just cut everything. There's no like warning. There's just like, you're done. You're banned. That you can't just stream in a bathroom, dude. So
I mean, not online. I mean, sorry.
Right? Yeah. So that was that. So live streaming makes me a little weary sometimes.
I'm not too worried about you making the same mistake.
Right.
But
Right. But I don't know what anyone else will do. Because I have a lot of friends.
True.
I have a lot of friends that, someone could say something that could be, taken in the wrong context.
That happens to people.
So I just want to have the backup plan.
That's fair. Editing is wonderful. Yeah.
I don't have to edit often, thankfully. Very rarely do I edit it. But.
When I call into the show, I'll call in from a bathroom. It's the loophole we can use.
See, that you can do. That is fine.
The acoustics are great. It's all about the listener.
All right, but thanks for coming down, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, dude.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah.